All right. Wow, the PlayStation is a bit loud. All right, we're gonna do this a little bit structured. We're gonna start a overall The Last of Us Part Two review. Now, how we're gonna do this is I'm gonna dive in with a few minutes of spoiler free. Obviously, if you're watching it live, you're probably if you're catching it in the middle of it, you're probably gonna want to wait until this is over and then you can rewatch it. The intro is going to be real short, spoiler free, because spoiler free, I don't have much to say. Then I'm going to go into my spoiler review, which should only last a few minutes, and then we're going to go into fan feedback from the community, and that should wrap up the end of it. Let me make sure you guys can hear me good, see me good, check all the stats. I do have some exciting news. I got two pieces of exciting news right off the bat I got to show. Right off the rip, we funded a little early. I wasn't expecting the fund until tomorrow, and then we can start doing heavy promo to get to our new goal. This is my comic for anyone that's new. Doomsday Kingdom Volume 1. Volume 1. What this means is it's official. Everyone who put in orders will now get one for sure. We are going to print, essentially, is what it means. We hit our minimum requirement goal to go to print. Next, we'll be hitting our $7,000 goal for the gold-plated special edition bookmarks that will never be made ever again. It's a one-time thing to kind of commemorate the very first volume release of Doomsday Kingdom. If you're into zombie stories, serious ones, not comedic, a lot of heart, a lot of guts, and I mean that emotionally and gore. Straight up gore. So we did hit our goal. Hyped about that. So hyped. So thank you to everyone who jumped on board and checked out Doomsday Kingdom. Now, also, to go along with the last piece of news, there is something a lot of people have been recommending. Now, now that the Last of Us Part 2 is done. That was one of our big streaming events that kept getting delayed, and it kind of messed up my overall schedule, because now that that is out of the way, there is no more events lined up, and I'm actually shifting. This is the final shift for my content, where we are finishing the transition into the Flaw in All reviews for the main channel, which is this channel, Make a Path Presents. And to go along with the Flaw in All reviews, I've been getting a ton of requests for something that I now think we will be able to start doing as a test run next month, and that will be Flaw in All reviews for video games. Now, hear me out though. It will be slow. It will be a test run. And the only way, I went through this and spent hours and hours doing test runs with scripts and all that, testing it out. The only way it is possible is if it is in multiple parts, because if I do one video game in a Flaw in All review, that single video would be like 4 hours long. I shit you not. And yes, we will actually start with The Last of Us, most likely, because that's the one that was most voted. Whether you love part 1 or you hate part 2 and you want to see how the whole thing is added up with the pros and cons, so that'll be exciting. I'm pushing that off until maybe late July to see where we sit with that. The best part about that is it's not going to take the place of the TV Flaw in All reviews or the movie Flaw in All reviews. It will sit seamlessly around whenever I get done to post in between those. So you might get a TV one like The Walking Dead. You might get a random movie one week. A couple days later, you might get The Last of Us one, then follow with a TV, then two Last of Us, then a movie, then another movie. So that's real exciting. So Doomsday Kingdom on Indiegogo. Links are all down below. And Flaw in All reviews, we're going to do a test run with the movies. Now, let's check out that one super chat that just came in, because I don't want to ignore anybody. And then we're going to dive DD Gaming with a $5 dono. Let's start the stream right. Hell yeah. Thank you very much for the support, homie. Now, let's dive into the spoiler-free section. That should only take a few seconds, to be honest. Here it is. Atmosphere is incredible. There's a lot of variety. It's absolutely incredible. I seen cons that said there's no memorable places, there's no this, and this, and I think you're nuts. I thought about it, and I was like in such shock at the ending, and I thought about the places where the river and the creek, and this is spoiler free, so I can't say certain facts about it, but there's that one, the lush ferns that we saw in the trailers. I went back and looked through the different chapters as well. And yes, I want more, but the atmosphere is gorgeous. Now, the only flaw that goes with that, the fern area with the scars, that was shown in the trailer, and I got so excited to be in that atmosphere of how dense it was and that feeling of the woods, and you can smell the dirt and the insects. That's how, detailed it was. But it's the smallest portion of the game. That part was so disappointing. But again, it was like so gorgeous, I wanted more, but it's only literally like this one little strip that Ellie goes through, and I was real bummed out about that. But atmosphere is incredible. The sounds are fantastic. One of the highlights, the new and improved sounds for the infected, incredible. Shit your pants incredible. Speaking of the infected, they're very cool. Amazing detail. I always want new types of infected, and we do have new types of infected, but this is perfect. Do I always want more? Sure, but perfect. And next, the gameplay. It's similar to part 1. However, they upgraded some of it. And because they upgraded some of it, it made it a lot... what's the best... It made it so it didn't feel like a completely different game. Let me just get right to the point with that one. That's something that I see cons, a lot of people say, oh, it feels like it's not innovated. And I don't know if they're not playing it right or what, because between utilizing the atmosphere by going through windows, squeezing through the squeeze throughs, whatever the hell those are called, even when it comes to shooting the legs off of the zombies so you didn't waste a bullet and then you stomp on their skull. There's so many different things, even the dodge mechanic, which was a little rough to get used to at first. I went back in and I tested it out some, and utilizing everything in the game. Again, the squeeze throughs, shooting the legs, all this other stuff. There's so much shit you can do. Grabbing bottles, smashing it off, using the environment to smash the infected's faces off the walls and shit. It is the perfect combination of feeling like part 1, but upgraded and smoothed out a bit, made it more modern. So the gameplay I love, absolutely. The difficulty levels, I was a little disappointed because I turned it up to the hardest difficulty level, and I got slaughtered. I mean, I went in, and then I saw some scars, and I said, screw it, I'm just going to fight them because I want to do this review. And then I started shooting one, and they all turned on me. They all hit me 100%, even if I was trying to peek out from a tree. Even with bows, they were like bang, bang, bang with arrows like the Terminator. On the hardest difficulty, it feels like you have to play the game stealth mainly and be very careful. Now, here's where the best part comes into play. Customizing the difficulties. It's been something I've been wanting for years in video games. The Last of Us Part 2 does it. Because of that, I was able to go in and I was able to say, okay, I can change this, change that, change this. So for me, I can find a lot more bullets, but the enemies are a lot harder. However, I toned down their accuracy and how aggressive they are so they don't all run at me, because I like to go to war with them. So you tweak it a bit. Because you can customize the difficulties, the replay value goes through the roof. Now up to the character graphics. They're clean. They're clean and fantastic. Even if you think something looks ugly, Abby, for you all out there, I am smoothing up to Abby's all around. And it's amazing how you can attack the enemies 10 different ways for almost every single level. It is nuts. On top of that, they have the game set up to where if you don't want to do the story, you can literally pick I think it's called encounters. It should just be called kills, because you literally jump into that part of the chapter and you just do kills. And again, you kill everyone and it stops. The screen pops up. It says you killed everyone. Do you want to go on to the next? It skips everything that has to do with literally the cinematic, but it does skip over you traveling from location to location. So there's 3 ways you could play: the full story, and then skip the cinematics if you want. You can also play just each chapter, depending on what ones are your favorites, or just do the encounters, which is getting into the kills. Every time you start an encounter, you're right where you would just start killing within seconds, or stealth within seconds. And when you kill the last person, the match ends. You know what I mean? Anyway, so the replay value is huge. What else did I mention? The character graphics and the character acting is solid, even when I'm not interested in what's going on. So again, to finish off the spoiler-free review portion, the story is the only thing where I have an oof for it. One huge problem, I will say, I think, in the acceptance phase right now. But to wrap up the spoiler-free section, I will say it is a big oof, and it is a shame. It kind of feels like a waste, but I don't think you should let that deter you from playing the game. If you find time, if you have time, if you want to wait and get this while it's on sale, there's no way you're not going to enjoy the atmosphere, the sound, the infected, the being in that post-apocalyptic world, even playing a character. And again, it's much better once you beat the game and you don't have to wait to get back to the character that you like, or the characters that you like. Once it's done and you're like, okay, I know it all, it's so much better to just go back and play those levels for what they are. It really, really is. So I would say my spoiler-free review, and then we'll move on to the details. This game is worth, even with my gut-wrenching disappointments, this game is worth the money and the time. It is enjoyable as hell, and it's a shame that something that went so wrong could pull people out of wanting to play this game. I will say, for the people who are stubborn, fuck it then, stay over there and stay stubborn, because I enjoyed a hell of a lot playing this game. And if you don't want to experience that because reasons, let's say, go bye. I don't know what to tell you then. That's like, what do they say? There's a saying for that. I don't get it. But it's like boycotting fun for yourself. Anyhow, now we're going to go into spoilers, and then we're going to slide over to the fan feedback from you guys. Now, you got 3 seconds. Spoilers are coming, and they're coming fast, so stay tuned for that. All right. I narrowed this down to where it went wrong. The biggest problem with The Last of Us Part 2. I thought about Abby. Do I really hate Abby? Do I look, okay, she had her mission. Do I, how do I feel about this and that? And to be honest, I don't give a shit it's a female with a big bulking Hulk body. First off, I was even thinking about it too. For variety's sake, it's different than any female. I can't even remember a female we had in a video game or whatever that had this type of appearance and presence, let's say. So it's not her physique. It's not because she's a girl. And I'm thinking more and more, I like a lot what her muscles symbolize. It's the scarring left over from what Joel did. It pushed her into training. And then on top of that, I like when you get to the end and it reveals how she's been starved and she's in the, let's say that prison, wherever it was. And you find her all beat up, tortured, abused for months on end, hair chopped off, no muscles now. It is a pretty shocking dun-dun-dun. The one thing that makes it go so wrong is killing Joel. Why, though? I thought about this. Why? Why does that affect the story so much? And it's funny, because I think it was Neil Druckmann said, I would rather you absolutely be like foaming mad and hate this than be indifferent or like meh. And I'm indifferent and meh, because killing Joel is just a waste. It's just an absolute and utter waste. Just a complete waste. It does almost nothing. And I thought about just, in my head, I'm kicking it around and I'm thinking, okay, most likely, and I hate to scar this review by bringing up controversial topics like agendas, but the internet wants to talk about it, and if I could be brutally honest, Joel is dead because you can't kill a gay character. Hear me out. Why can't you kill a gay character? Well, every time a gay character gets killed on The Walking Dead, some of these weirdos, these insane weirdos come out and they say, you're killing the gays, and they even have a name for it. It's called fridging or some shit like that. I guess a gay character on TV was found in a fridge. I don't know. Here's the thing. Joel's a straight white guy. No one's coming out and saying, oh, you can't kill him off because he's white or straight or whatever the hell. People die. In The Walking Dead, you have... I got 20 names I can name off, and all are different. They're straight, they're white, they're black, they're gay, they're fucking... They live over there, they live over here. People die, especially in brutal worlds. If you're building a world, people will die. I believe, and again, this is not I'm getting to a point, I'm not like nailing the game for this. I do believe that they wanted a couple things. They had check boxes because that's the only thing that makes sense for them to throw away the opportunity to give us a more organic, natural, better fit for a story. Overall, Joel didn't have to die. Dina could have been the death and a better fit. Because imagine if Dina was killed because they came to get Joel, do the same scenario almost, but take out the stupidity where they let their guard down. Almost the same scenario. Ellie comes in at the last moment, saving Joel, which is what the original ending of part 1 was going to be. Look that up about the test thing. And in saving Joel, he ends up with a permanent limp because he got shot in the leg. And instead of Tommy ending with the dead eye and the scar, Joel does. But because of that attack and them getting away, Joel is severely, wounded. Dina dies. But Abby is, and this is where the sympathy comes into play. Once she's beating on him, the more she beats on him, the harder it is for her to go through with it. And we're starting to see the complexity there instead of her being this hulking, because I see what they did. Hulking, they did the whole ringing, and the ringing cut out all the conversation. And then when you find out from their perspective, you can see the different types of characters where Owen seemed like a more level-headed guy. He wanted one person gone, and then that was it, and yada, yada, yada. And you can understand from Owen's perspective, more so than most of them. Everyone else was just flat. So you got an Abby that's more sympathetic. You got a character that's now, scarred, terribly scarred from this predicament. Dina is dead, a pregnant Dina, so they can still mirror it, because if you look at the gameplay, you literally play this game twice. Everything Ellie does, Abby does. Literally. I double checked it. Everything. Even as an example, Ellie pukes after killing Owen, discovering the pregnant lady she just kills. And when Abby walks in, she gets down and pukes. Everything they do is the same. It's mirrored almost identically. The entire thing. Anyhow, even the love triangle, Owen, Mel, Abby, Dina, Jesse, Ellie. You know what I'm saying? Everything is mirrored. You can still keep that. But now we have Joel who's hanging on by a thread. And you should have had Ellie and Jesse, maybe Tommy, go out with some flashbacks with Dina, like the fucking trailer hinted at, giving some purpose to that bracelet that now has like barely any fucking purpose that they hyped up in the trailer. I don't even know why it's in the collector's edition. It don't mean dick, to be honest. And literally, it don't mean dick anyway. So you have Ellie, Jesse, and maybe even Tommy go out, get flashbacks with Dina, keep the flashbacks with Joel, tweak the context. And just like the trailer, Joel meets them halfway, but now he's got the gray eye, he's got a severe limp, and it's even more of a fragile story there. And you have to craft it a little bit better around the edges to make it fit. But imagine playing as Abby later on, but you get stuck in a situation where instead of this Lev and whoever the fuck the two people are, I know some people like them. I don't. They're so flat and whatever. Instead of Lev and whatever her sister is, you get stuck as a prisoner with Joel and escape with Joel. Abby and Joel, one eye after she tried to kill his ass, but it's in a way where you can't just straight go and kill each other. They could even think or want to. Long story short, Abby ends up not going through with it and finishing Joel off. And then when it comes back around for the final revenge for Ellie mirrors Abby and shows Abby the same forgiveness that Abby showed Joel. And I believe in that way, you can still keep all the mirrored shit. You have now a more wounded Joel, but he's still alive, still in the story. You can still do stories with those. You play Abby a little less, but now it's a little more intertwined. Streamline her story, because again, the only reason they wanted her in the story is to be the new Joel. She literally does everything that Joel does. She is now the Joel character. And for me, some of that, it was like, I appreciate the story threads that they're putting together, but for me, it didn't work. Killing Joel was the biggest. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to take my idea as like, oh yeah, they should have done that. I'm just saying they should have done something similar that went around killing Joel in that way, that early, and have Abby as a playable character for that much with that type of story. Her story was so flat. Now, when I walk away from it, there's a lot I like. I love how it starts with Joel cleaning the guitar, and you see the little butterfly emblem on the guitar. And then at the very end, when Ellie is all alone, you know, that was her biggest fear in part 1. She told Sam, my biggest fear is being all alone. Now that she's all alone and she's walking away, she can't even play the guitar anymore. It shows the guitar, and it has the heart, but now cleaned. Joel was cleaning it. So again, it comes full circle with the guitar in the very beginning and then the very end, book ending this story here. But in a way, it feels a little too bleak in a uninteresting way. I keep pulling pieces from it, and I love dark shit. I love dark and depressing, but there's a part of it that is dark, bleak, and depressing in a non-interesting way. You know what I mean? And I feel like if they would have just did it different, or pulled Joel out of it as far as a character you kill off, because here's one of the biggest things. It just felt like a fucking waste. Let's be honest. It just felt like a waste. You know, killing Joel. It just felt like a waste. I don't have a problem with Abby as a character. Her father was yada, yada, yada. Her friends are flat. As far as story, there was just nothing there. And then the scars, nothing there. It felt like it was going to build up into something a little more than what it was. I understand the purpose story-wise, because the scars and the wolves need a final head-to-head. So Abby has no one left. She needs all her friends killed. She needs the wolves and the scars to be destroyed so she can go find the fireflies again. So it pushes her. I understand all the story beats, but again, a lot of those, Joel's death and the Abby perspective, a lot just really fell flat in a way where it feels like a waste. I guess that's all I got to say. So I'm going to end it there. We're going to get into some fan feedback. And I will say the amount of stupidity I've seen on the internet, I went back and rewatched a bunch of the Last of Us leaks videos and yada, yada, yada. And it is insane. People were saying all these leaks that were false. And then obviously there was some of the ones that were true for sure. But then people are still today, like a review came out today, and people are still calling Abby a trans male. And they're making fun of the sex scene. They said something about Sony doesn't, I don't know, but they said Sony shows two guys fucking. And it's like, that Abby's a girl. Abby's 100% a female. I know the Lev is supposed to be trans, and that was kind of just like slapped in there and onto the side. It doesn't have a lot of weight, but it was kind of like, oh, we want to check this box, so we just, slap that little add-on story, which I don't care as long as it doesn't affect the main story. If you want to tell a main story to deal with a trans lifestyle, then go make that game. You know what I'm saying? Because just tacking it on doesn't do anyone any favors. But as long as it doesn't interfere with the main story, there's a lot of things that I think are really stupid when I hear it, like Neil Druckmann put himself in the game. No, he didn't. A lot of really dumb shit that I think is going around. But bottom line, this is an absolutely incredible overall polished experience. All of it, right? Except for one huge major decision that is a real anchor in the heart of part 1 and part 2. And that's killing Joel, And again, he's not invincible. I think after he would severely be wounded in part 2, it would be fine to kill him off part way into part 3. And it doesn't even have to be in a revenge thing. You can come up with a clever way to end out his story. And anyway, it's just, I still highly recommend the game, obviously, because of the atmosphere. And there's one thing I wanted to show you is Doomsday Kingdom is funded, but also I looked up the Abby bodybuilder. I don't know if this is actually her. Her name is Colleen Focht. Everyone keeps telling me they took a girl's head and put it on a guy's body. Like I said, sometimes I feel like the internet is just half retarded. Women look like this. Like, there's women that look like this. I used to go to the gym all the time when I was a lot younger, And it's not a lot. I might have known, like I said, 3 to 4 women that really bulked out. And it's not a lot at all, but some women are into strength training, and it's a real female. It's just a different female that did the face. Like Dina, this is the girl who did Dina's body. And then, face. I think they changed the body. And then they have, I think this is the girl, maybe the same girl. I don't know if this is a legit photo or what, but it does look like it's sort of legit. But, it's a real girl that did the body. Here's Lev and her sister. The girl who did the voice for Abby is totally different. Laura Bailey, if I have this right, she's the girl that did the voice for Abby. And again, even though I laughed, I died when I saw this, I was dying, yo. The memes are still funny, but even though, the Abby connective tissue Joel death was a huge, and not even a gut punch. Again, I circle back to, it's just a waste. Even though that's the case, the acting was still done. The voice acting was still really good. The graphics and how the character looked was still really good. I think there's something weird, though. When we get to this scene, Abby looks different here. She kind of looks like she could be kind of cool visually, like face and all. Different, bodybuilder type chick in the army training, that type of WLF. But outside of this night scene, and maybe it's the night shadows, but she does have an unpleasant face. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it, she does. I'm gonna say it. Abby has an unpleasant face, not nice to look at. So, anyhow, I gotta look that up to make sure that's the real girl. But yeah, just to cover a couple different things, because there's a lot of real stupid shit out on the internet that's just not true. So that's my thoughts and opinions. Absolutely worth it for a game. However, the pedestal that I put part 1 on, and I thought about this long and hard, because as a writer myself, I love looking at other writers and creative teams and how they piece together certain elements. And having a character want revenge so bad, they do something that not a lot of females do. And again, it's not a lot of females, but there are females that do this. They bulk out their muscles. They become everything in their life. She loses her relationship. She goes training. She loses herself. You know what I mean? On this quest for revenge. That's what her physique symbolizes. So outside of killing Joel, just that element. So she loses herself. She gets that physique. She goes after her revenge. All that I like in theory and in concept. It is cool as fuck. And then once she finds herself and she's on the path to redemption, she gets caught up in another cycle of violence. And that cycle of violence literally drains her of, of her muscles and essentially who she was. That dominance, that presence that she had when she came into a room or when she showed up on the scene and she helped people and she was, brutalizing the enemy. That was all stripped and gone, sucked away in that cycle of violence. So concept-wise, again, there's a lot there I like, but our love and connection with Joel is so deep. It was just a waste using him as a catalyst for this message for a game. It's a message. It's not a story anymore. It's a message. They went overboard to where you have messages in story and then you're using your message as a story. You know what I mean? I prefer if your messages are in the story, but you don't use the message as the story. And that's where The Last of Us 2, I think, faltered. They just went a little over the edge with that aspect. There was something also I want to finish on. I thought I wrote it down. Yeah, I did. If this was a part 1, I think the internet would be ablaze. And that's how I know, or I believe, most people feel the same. Or no, a lot of people feel the same. That Joel's death was just a waste as a catalyst for this story. If it was Dina, I love Ellie so much. If Dina found a girlfriend and the girlfriend was pregnant and they were, they just connected and Jesse was cool with it and they kind of had the same dynamic here, and then Dina ended up being killed in the attack, I wouldn't need a lot with Dina. A few flashbacks just to keep it fresh like they did with the Joel in part 2. But I would be just as bloodthirsty to get that revenge for Ellie. Like, I was bloodthirsty, but I still had this, fuck it, oh well. Like, it was such a waste feeling. And it took me till the end of the game to realize what that feeling was. But if it was for Dina, that bloodthirst probably would have actually been more interesting. For me, my personal preference. And then having Joel there as, in a different way, tweaking the story. Anyhow, that's my thoughts and opinions. Let's dive into what the chat has to say. I'll still leave Joel, rest in peace, homie, on the screen while I read some of the chat. And we'll see what you guys have to say. Let me get this donation. I did miss one. Spartan Ghost with a $5 dono. You can crack the safes with just listening to the clicks. And that's what's up. I'm glad you can do stuff like that. If you don't want to have to fuck with the reading the numbers, finding the numbers, and then you go through and listen for the clicks and have a little patience. As long as it's not longer than just looking for the damn pieces of paper, that's fine. Someone said they enhanced it, says Ray. Mr. Midnight says, don't you think The Last of Us 2 Flaw and Awe would pop off right now, /views and subs? You know what? I was fighting inside with myself on how to do that. Should we start The Last of Us Flaw and Awe reviews on part 1 or part 2? Now, I think if I was jumping into video game Flaw and Awe's, it only makes sense to do part 2 because it's so hot and fresh right now. And again, keep in mind, just because it's a Flaw and Awe review does not mean it will be good. And I think I have a really cool way, or I feel there's a neat way to do it, but a practical way to do it. Because I've tried. I looked into it with The Last of Us Part 1. doing a flaw in our review style video for part 1, this was a rough outline, would have been a 6-hour video. That's fucking insane. But keep in mind, it's a 15-hour game, you know? Now, there's some of that I can tweak down and streamline. I could probably do the flaw in our review in 3 hours, but I don't want to upload a 3-hour review. So the best thing is I have it sectioned in parts, and I think it's going to work nicely because the parts actually make sense to what's going on. So you will see that. But I do agree. I think part 2 most likely should be the way to start. James Wolfgang with a $10 dono. I respect your review, Ronnie. The way you fleshed out your feelings for the game and changes you make speaks volumes more than these other reviews that overreact for views. Stay strong, my guy. Yeah, thank you very much, James Wolf. You know what? Believe it or not, The Last of Us 2 did show me one thing, man. It showed me, I swear to God, a ton of YouTube reviewers that I actually liked. Some I just tolerated, like I don't hate them, but I peep their stuff once in a while. Some that kind of annoy me, but there's a lot of people I straight up like that just kind of went a little off the deep end just because they have like these hate goggles on with some of it. And you can always tell who just slightly goes off the deep end because it's like yo, the atmosphere's good. No, this game is trash. Well, yeah, that story element fucked a lot. But the world, when you're in the world and you go and it's this open and oh my God, it's like I can smell Seattle in the post-apocalyptic. I can smell this clicker that's been sitting in his own shit, vomit and pus, and it is so visceral. No, you don't smell anything. No, it sucks. It's like looking at shit, you know. It's like, no, that's not reality. The sounds, the atmosphere, the gameplay, all this shit is amazing. There's one huge flaw: they kill Joel in a wasteful manner, you know. Manhammer says, Ronnie, you should get NECA to make a Ronnie Hayes figure that says the quote, "It just needs a polish." I definitely buy that shit. I would too. Mr. Midnight says, I was thinking this and not all segmented stories end on a good note, i.e. Star Wars and Rocky. Maybe it's not over. I was rethinking this and not all segmented stories end on a good note. Well, here's the thing too is, I love dark and stories that just make that just shatter your heart and rip your guts out, even for an ending. I love shit like that, as long as it's an enjoyable ride the whole way and it feels. This doesn't. Like, I love the idea of Ellie with her fingers bit off. She can't even play the song that Joel taught her. The last memory she has of Joel. Like, I love so much there. But again, the Joel and how he goes out and the Abby story with it weighs it down so much. That one part feels like just a waste, man. What we got? I agree with you on that, says Cryptus. If you're talking to me, make sure you write at Make a Path Presents, so that way it highlights it, or send me some fucking bread, you know. No, seriously, I want to make a sandwich. No, super chats, so that way I can see it, because if you're just talking to each other, I can't really tell who's who. Wankstain says, Abby never should have existed. The story should have followed the consequences of Joel's lie in a logical and intimate way. Well, here's the thing. How? It's easy to say, I will accept, you guys can say anything you want, but when you really sit down to think about what would be a good story, it's a lot trickier than you realize. Taking pieces that are already there and understanding why they did it and what they wanted from the story and what they were trying to tell, it's easier to kind of tweak things, because then you can utilize their blueprint, so to speak. And then at the end of your tweaking, it's still a house, you know. But what you're saying is, come bulldoze the house and just picture a nice, beautiful house there. I appreciate what you're saying, Wankstain, but it doesn't do anything else. What way? What story can follow? Do you have one? I don't have one off the top of my head. In a, not a whole story about Joel lying to Ellie. I'm sorry. The Last of Us Part 1 is a masterpiece. I don't want a 30-hour game of Joel's lie. I don't want them bickering for 30 hours. I don't want them at odds with each other and then have to, by the end of the game, to me, that shit is so played out. So, in order for me to understand fully where you're coming from, throw something at me like, oh, in this way, this, because they did that. There was consequences of Joel's lie, but again, it's not interesting. That's why in this, it was in a couple flashbacks, because it's just not interesting. Not in that, simple way. They said Abby was meant to die for a long time. Yeah, I think she probably should have died. Someone said oh, hold on. We got a $5 dono from 948 Jojo. Said, for me, a disappointing aspect was how much emphasis they placed on Isaac and then gave 2 scenes. Second one where he dies. Yeah, Isaac, equally so, that prophet of the scars. There was some imagery there, and I really thought that was going to be some hidden cool aspect of the story, but it ended up being nothing. The scars were only there so they can put in let's be real and call it what it is. The scars were only there so Neil can put a trans character in the game. That's all it was. And outside of the scars and the wolves need to go to war, so Abby has nothing, because keep in mind, that's what they're there for. They're there to go to war, so there's scenery, a villain for the area that takes place at the Fireflies, and it is what pushes Abby out and brings Ellie out with her for the end of the game. And then we got Mista86 with a $5 dono. Bread for the sandwich. Hell yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to get some ham and cheese next. Anyone got some ham and some cheese? Give me some of that cheese, yo. It's Mac with a $10 cheese dono. The marketing was what I think really trashed the game. Let me just say something real quick about the marketing, because I agree with you in part here. They never should have, legally speaking, I will go as far as saying it is downright disgusting for them to put Joel in the game when it was really Jesse. When it comes to shit like that, I am like stonewalled, you crossed the fucking line. To the point where I think anyone should be able to return their copy and say this was marketed the wrong way. I shit you not. I fucking swear. But when it's a scene where they show us an old Joel and an old Ellie, and it really is a younger, that's fine. That's like, okay, fine. It's still the same scene. They just look a little younger. It's still the same scene. But when you have Joel get Ellie, it should have been, I don't give a fuck what it does for your trailer. It was a disgusting, cheap lie, to get your trailer to work. That shit I don't fuck around with. And I said the same thing for The Walking Dead when they added extra dialogue into a trailer. I didn't say that was like, yada, 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 because it wasn't like visual, but there was extra dialogue that I knew immediately was bullshit, and I pointed it out, and sure enough, it was right, because it was somebody that was an enemy saying, I'll join you, It's like, that's not true. Anyway, It's Mac with a $10 dono says, like, it really seemed like Dino was the catalyst for her revenge story. Maybe he could have died along the way too, but not the way he did. That's another reason why I think it's a waste, because he's one of the most wanted and sought after people in that land. There's no fucking way. I ended the game knowing they were going to Tommy's little getaway, because that's the only fucking place Joel can go without being slaughtered. You know what I'm saying? So for him to just be like, oh yeah, Tommy, I'm Joel. Hey, you guys come down. Random people wearing patches of a known clique that absorbed the fucking Fireflies. Tommy knows that clique. Tommy used to be listen, to how fucking stupid this is. Tommy used to be a Firefly. Tommy is well aware of the WLF. Tommy is well aware of the WLF absorbing the Fireflies afterwards, and he fucking says so. He says that's a WLF move to do, to steal jackets or some shit like that. He's aware of it. He knows Joel's secret at this point in time, and they both openly and blatantly, I'm Tommy, I'm Joel. Again, that adds to why that scene is. And here's an easy fix. Joel, get the horses. The horde is going crazy. Then when they get to the house, they try to lie about their names, but Abby peeped it. You know what I'm saying? Easy fix, yo. But they just didn't. They didn't. Why? Because fuck it. Let's just get to kill Joel already, because no one cares about Joel. Well, I do. Do you think the negative backlash from this game will affect it? They'll make a part 3? No. I think this is a moneymaker. I don't know if, like, for example, I would not be surprised if they were going to try to do a part 3 with Abby and Lev as the leads this time instead of Joel and Ellie. I shit you not. When that ended, I had the feeling that that's, if it was praised, they would try to go that direction. At this point in time, I think that might be dead in the water, you know? But you never know. It made so much money. If they say, you know what, we can sell this anyway. Because if they made it and it was releasing tomorrow, I would fucking buy it. I hate Abby. You know, well, I don't even hate Abby. I don't care about Abby at all. She's just flat character. I would buy it because the world and gameplay is fucking orgasmic, you know? Jagger said, do you think the negative... Oh, never mind. I can bake, so I'll send you some bread from Sweden. How you gonna keep it fresh, yo? Beeman's World says, every cinematic with Dina, Lev, etc. felt bland and unimportant. You would often look away and speak to the chat when their dialogue was going. It felt very unimportant. Doomsday Kingdom / The Last of Us 2. I never would have ever imagined saying that in my life, brother, but... Ouch. Ouch. Here's another thing. I mentioned this during the stream, but I want to put it in the official review here and now. The behind the scenes had a lot of Ashley Johnson, the actress playing Ellie, putting some charisma, some character into Ellie. There was a scene where Ellie was just standing there doing nothing, and Ashley Johnson was like, fuck this. Ellie's not just going to stand here and do nothing. She's going to interact. So she was putting a lot of this character into it. When I was playing the game and Lev said something that was funny, it actually was like, more of this. Do more of this and you got me. Just by like dialogue in game. And then nothing came up. Abby said like 2 lines that stood out that was like, oh, there's a little bit of character and charm. And then nothing. We're with Joel and Ellie for 2 minutes, and I'm like, I can't even hide my smile. They're pushing each other in the water. She's like, I'm on a motherfucking dinosaur. Their character, their charisma, their charm, it oozes out of the screen when they're on the screen together. These other characters don't. You can't tell me, honestly, that Lev and her sister had any fucking charm or charisma or any interesting character stuff at all. One girl is literally known as, bloody arm girl. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's Brandon Morier. Ronnie, do you, the player, should have been given the choice to kill Abby or not in the final fight? Here's where it's tricky. I'm going to say no, only because I hate when they do shit like that. We can't come up with an ending for sure, so we're going to let you decide. I hate that. I want your story. If you're writing a story for a movie, video game, show, I want your vision for the story. Don't cheat it out and cheapen it and go, oh, here's the story, but I couldn't decide on this ending or this ending, so you pick the ending. I know there's pick your own adventure type games. I'm not a big fan. I'm not really a big fan. Even with Telltale, I really enjoyed part 1, and I was fine because it's usually just changing the way you say words. It's really superficial changes. The story essentially is the same. You're with Lee and Clementine at the end is the end no matter what. The same for most of them, but they got like hidden differences that are really pointless. Anyway, and that's another big problem. Games should not have double endings, because when the next part comes out, imagine part 1, you can either save Ellie or let Ellie die on the operating table. And then part 2 comes out and they picked for you. What was the fucking point of having an ending where you choose if that ending doesn't follow over into the next part? So I'm against that. Totally agree, although Fighting the Scars was awesome. Here's the thing. Again, with my review, all the gameplay pretty much was outstanding. You know, I wish we saw more of that, crawling through the dirt, hiding, and almost having to play stealth. I, again, totally agree. All of the gameplay elements. And I said it before, and I replayed it, and I stick with this. If they let you change your skin for the replay ability, it would double its appeal. Because then when you go back and you play it, and I'm talking about, fuck the cinematics, just the gameplay. You can go back and play that mission as Joel, play that mission as young Joel, play that mission as Ellie, play that mission as anyone you want. Like Joel, old, young, Ellie, old, young. Imagine you being able to play young Ellie just visually to look. And again, this isn't like groundbreaking for the story. This is just for the replayability in that level. Once you beat the story and you experience the cinematic, you know, you're never getting that same experience. You get a you rewatch movies and you replay games and you get the cinematic and the stuff that you love, sure, but when you want to sit down and play the video game again and just experience the atmosphere, I would rather be controlling a young Ellie, young Joel, old Joel, than pretty much anyone. You know what I mean? Oh my God. I would probably play The Last of Us Part 2 for the next 5 years on the regular if they let you change your skin. True shit, you know? DLC, give it to me, you know? Austin says, what made me angry was they brought Abby out of left field with us knowing nothing about her, giving us more backstory and giving me something to care about. That would have been okay. And that's another thing that disappoints me, because you spend a lot of time as Abby, and I still feel like it's flat. It didn't do shit for me. It didn't do dick, you know? I will replay it, and I will, you know, laser focus on what's said, how they act, and I will see if maybe I'm missing something, but it's just flat. I appreciate you being honest, says Freddie, and giving me your truthful opinion. Thank you very much, Freddie. Appreciate that, homie. Isaiah Coleman with a $10 dono. I enjoyed the gameplay in The Last of Us 2, but the story is trash and I don't want to play as Abby. They should have just showed the cutscene on who Abby was. This game has no replay value because Abby is boring. Thank you very much for the $10 dono. I can't get behind that at all. Again, once you beat the game, you could pick your chapters, and if you don't want to play as Abby, just play all the other chapters that Ellie's, you know, that have Ellie. When it comes to changing the skins, let me ask you, if you were able to change your skin to Ellie or Joel, would you replay the game then? And would you replay the Abby missions? You know, before this stream, because I knew we would get into these questions, I replayed the Abby in the forest, and then the Abby, which was the other one? I replayed the forest one twice, and then my daughter just happened to get stuck on the forest one. And, oh fuck, speaking of which. Guys, how soon after the forest is that love scene? Coming up, she's supposed to be skipping it when Owen's there. Fuck, I gotta check on that. Actually, I'm gonna check on that in a second. Actually, I'm nervous now. I'm gonna check on that right fucking now. Hold on. Juliet. Love you. I'm almost done too, by the way. Bro, that was like Joel shining down on me, giving me a heads up, because she's like 30 minutes away from that. I was keeping an eye on it. I was keeping a close eye on it, because she was playing as Ellie, and then all of a sudden she's like halfway through Abby, and I was like, how the hell did you do that? Did you, like, what the hell? You know, like, how did you skip? What? She got through that fast. I don't know how. Anyway, they should have said their names were Mario and Luigi. I agree with that. Game was a little boring. Creep, loot, shoot, and repeat for 20 plus hours. If you took all the people out of the game and all you did was loot and find creatures to kill, would you still play? Well, that's kind of odd. That's like saying, hey, if would you still play the game if I duct taped your thumbs to your asshole? You know? No. I mean, the game is good because what's in it. If you start taking shit out of it, it's no longer the same game, you know? XL, brother, I don't understand that question at all. That's like, hey, this game, it's not really for me, but if you take all the cool shit out of it, would you still play it? Bro, no. You know? No, if you take, what did you say? If you took all the people out of it, all you did was loot and find creatures to kill, would you still play it? I would probably still play it with the creatures, but I would much prefer it fighting people. I love the gun-to-gun combat, but I'm a nut for the creatures. But again, like, now you're changing it wildly, though. There's a lot of people-on-people combat, you know what I mean? And games are about repetition. That's the thing, too. You absorb the world. The world is huge, but it's about repetition, because the more you play, the better you get at it. Bro, I played 30 hours. I replayed the game just kind of more relaxed, just to hone in on my review today and kind of brush up on a couple things I was having problems with. I was doing shit that I didn't even do in the 30 plus hours I was playing. I was running through a crack in the wall. I shot this clicker that blew off his foot. As soon as he landed down, I like stomped on his head and then jumped out of a window. It was fucking nuts. You know what I mean? I don't think I even went for the legs at all in my first gameplay, but there's so many things you can do, like where you're Abby and it's at the forest scene and you're running through the cracks in the walls and the two shamblers are there. Everyone was telling me to shiv them when they're slipping through the cracks. I tried that 3 times and I didn't get a shiv prompt, so I don't know if that was a glitch or if you guys were just guessing I should do that. Dude, imagine an online mode where one person plays as Rat King and the rest of the players get to choose between any character from the story. I can say I don't share your excitement, but I would be curious to see if that would be cool. Only because I'm not really sure what you would do as the Rat King other than grab people and eat them, you know? Can you be my Master Splinter? Absolutely, TDN lives on. Was that a subscriber we just got? It looked like it. Someone says, Ronnie, did you get the mini art book with your edition? Yes, I got the art book. Uncharted 1 story-wise is better than than Last of Us 2, in my opinion, says Isaiah Coleman. Remember, if you're asking me a question, hit Make a Path Presents. We're going to be ending soon, so get your final thoughts about The Last of Us in. Have you played Uncharted? I'm going to try to keep this more focused to The Last of Us Part 2, but yes, I have played Uncharted. Ronnie, why are some people angry man babies, and do you think if they wore diapers, it would help at all? I don't know. I mean, are your diapers good, or do they get irritable? You let us know. Give us a nice good review on it, and then maybe we'll see if that will help the man babies. Is part 1 or part 2 better in your opinion? Part 1 is better by a fucking Here to Mars story-wise. And again, the story is so fucking simplistic, but the charm is what makes you fall in love with the story and the characters. However, the gameplay is better in the second one. The gameplay is definitely better in the second one. If you could take the part 1, which I've been saying this for years now. If I was, who's that rich guy, Elon Musk or something, I would literally pay to have the graphics and the new game mechanics all redone, custom done to now, to modern day. What does it cost? $50 million. Fuck it. Here. If I am rich beyond belief, I would pay for shit like that. And then I would be sitting back playing The Last of Us Part 1. All you need are the audio files from the actors. Everything else you can regenerate. You take the mocap, all the files that they got, and then what you do is you add on the new graphics, you add on new sounds, updated sounds for the enemies, and you add on new mechanics, updated mechanics, game mechanics. Imagine part 1 story and part 2 gameplay in one game. Oh my God. And world. You got to have the world. So even a bigger world. Now we're getting into changing too much. But Roscoe said, "You're very detailed and honest. The backlash of this one choice reminds me of Mass Effect. They shit on the entire franchise because of one choice. Oof. Oof. So what's your final score, brother, between 1 to 10? I'm not a fan of the 1 to 10. If you force me to do a 1 to 10, I would probably say 8 out of 10 final score. Somewhere floating around 8 out of 10. They should have made the game just about Abby and then have the conclusion in the third part. See, I don't even know if that would have worked. Somebody said before they revealed part 2, I remember somebody saying, I think they're making a part 2, but it's not about Joel and Ellie. And I remember going, listen, that's something they could do, but I would be like, even though I so want to be in that world, that environment, those types of infected and yada, 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 I would be furious, So I don't know if that would have worked. I really don't know. Would you play a Resident Evil remastered The Last of Us Part 1 with Part 2 graphics? Oh, fuck. Yes, I would play the shit out of that. Not just remastered, but update the game mechanics. I don't know if that's even physically possible, but money can do anything. Do you think a multiplayer is coming? They said it was coming, so I think yes, but not for a couple years. I think Part 2, they tried to make the story too big. That's something. That's definitely a possibility. Did you see the interview with Neil and Haley Gross for IndieWire today where Neil talks about a sequel? And if so, what did you think? No, I didn't see. What did they say real quick, and we'll cover it. All I know is they said they were going to talk about a Last of Us Part 3, or someone said that. They mentioned Part 3 or a new IP. If they do a Part 3, if it doesn't have Ellie, I don't know really what the fucking point is, to be honest. And if it's 2 new characters, oh man, I just hope the story's good. And I'll tell you right now, I don't want Abby and Lev. I don't want Abby and Lev. No, just move on completely. Did you see the interview with Neil and Haley Gross for Indie? Oh, I already read that. Did you get Glenn and Negan season 7 premiere flashbacks like I did when they showed Joel's head? You know what? No. But I did mention it, how it's way too similar. Abby starts as a mechanic, goes through a character arc, and then reverts back how she started. What was the point of us suffering through her? Oh, I'm sorry. Abby starts as a maniac, goes through a character arc, and then reverts back to how she started. What was the point of us suffering through her story if that's what happens? Well, the thing is, it's mirroring a cycle of violence. So, do you agree that Abby looks like Hunter Hearst Helms? I don't know who that is. If you were to write part 3, can you give a real quick idea on where you take the game? I have no idea. I can't just not with everything, not right on a dot or right on the spot. I can't just go boom, here's what the story would be. I mean, I have no idea. I would want it to mean something, so I would have to really sit down and polish a thought. I can't just say, oh, let's do this. Well, I could tell you right now, revenge is out of the question. You can't do revenge, and if you were gonna leave it off as a trilogy, you would have to bring back the Fireflies, because you already mentioned them regrouping. You already confirmed it in part 2. And it would most likely come full circle with some type of decision for... you know what? I'll give you a really basic pitch for part 3. Bringing back the Fireflies. Bringing back a cure. Partial cure storyline. But Joel's place is now taken by Ellie. Ellie is the one. Fuck. What? See, this is why, because then my brain's like, how to. All right, it's Ellie transporting another person that's immune. I don't know off the top of my head if it would be best to have Ellie protecting someone who's immune or Ellie transporting someone who's immune. But my first thought immediately would be to finish it with a third one. And it would be Ellie taking the Joel spot. And it would have to do with an immune. And we would be jumping ahead to a 25, 30-year-old Ellie, experienced, tough, but still have that Ellie charm and heart. I'll play around with that idea. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to write. It's a waste of time, I think, but that's my first thought off the top of my head. And it would come full circle in some way. It would likely come with the death of Ellie and doing some type of cure, or I don't know. You know what? Off the top of my head, it would be great if it had to come down to putting Ellie in Joel's shoes. You know what I mean? Because again, how he said it, I love all the Joel stuff in part 2. So fucking stupid we didn't get less Abby and more Joel and Ellie, but where he said, if the Lord gave me a second chance, I'd do it all over again. Joel was the fucking man. He was like, I would do it again. Hate me more. And then when Abby was going to kill him, he was just, get it over with. Just just get it over with. Anyway, yeah, that's where I would go. Somewhere like that. Anyway. 30-hour Abby story with a more fleshed out Isaac, Scars, and supporting characters would have been vastly better than what we got story-wise, that tarnished legacy characters. Again, I'm kind of stuck because now that means we're only getting the Abby to set up killing Joel. It still is wasted because we're jumping into the third one and you're immediately clapping Joel. You know what I mean? Part 2 should have been a different chunk of story, but revealing Abby. And maybe even having 2 stories go on at once. And the very end of part 2 would set up Abby's at Jackson and watching the patrol or some shit like that. Like, leave it off on a big, like, something's coming. Instead of this, like, we have this message for part 2, and then we can leave it, or we can come back and just do a fucking, like, build up to Thanos, like a Thanos moment, you know? There's got to be a Thanos meme where she is like purple and, you know, she's got the fucking thing. They made her into everybody. You and I have the same state of mind. As a writer yourself, why do you think they made us play half the game as Abby? Couldn't they just have showed us the flashbacks of what happened to her dad? No, it was literally to put you in her shoes. It was literally to put you in her shoes. Show you her perspective, but not as a cinematic, because if you're in the driver's seat, it's similar as when you're controlling Joel and you getting attached to Joel. Do you agree that Abby looks like... Okay, we already did that one. Wait, hold on. Where was I going? Negan is a better character than Abby. I agree. How do you even think part 3 would go? Right now, it would be totally fresh. There's no connective tissue. Again, there's no reason to bring back Abby. There's no reason. The only reason you would bring back Abby is if you did bring back the Fireflies. Ellie was chased and traveling and protecting another person that was immune, let's say. I don't know why she would, but let's just run with it. And then in the very end, she gets caught and you think she's gonna die, and out of fucking nowhere, someone walks from out of the shadows, and it's fucking Abby, a Firefly, because she met up with the Fireflies. And because of Ellie letting her live, Abby and Lev rescue Ellie, and there's a little mission where they rescue Ellie out of the ending of the Fireflies, saving her life, essentially. Bringing part 2 back full circle, and at least giving some sort of redemption to Joel's death, knowing that if Ellie would have killed Abby in part 2, Abby would have been dead, and she never would have been around to free her in part 3, to somewhat. How do you even think part... Neil said it would have to be worthwhile to go back to that world, and it would be harder to justify going back for a third one than it was for the second one. There's parts where I agree with writers. Like, when you have this certain story and you articulate it well and you hit the notes you want to hit, there's parts of it where I do agree, like, yes, it is tricky to keep going back because you don't want to... What's up, buddy?
Oh, what?
The whistling's driving me nuts.
Oh, sorry, you can hear that?
Yep, I'm wrapping this up. My daughter's going to stream... I forgot, I didn't know it was this late. My daughter's going to stream The Last of Us for an hour. I'm done. I'm done ending it now. You can start going. Huh? No, I don't want to show you, bro. An hour, that's it.
And 14 minutes.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm shutting her down. Go ahead and set it up. Get out of here. She's been working out now. She's going to beat my head in with a golf club if I piss her off. Yeah, do you guys want
to see my weights? Hold on, I'm adding more to them.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from, but in the same strength, The Last of Us world, at least, if it wasn't, if you're not going to follow Ellie, The Last of Us world is too good to walk away from.
Hold on.
For a video game world.
Can they see it?
Yeah, they could see.
Because your big head is in the way of me. All right, ready? This is my working out. It's easy.
She's pumping iron. New Abby in the making. Oh, bro.
I've done over 200 of these.
I know, you're a beast. Do you think someone will eventually create a new iconic type of horror creature like vampires, zombies, werewolves, mummies, etc., where people can make their own versions of them? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I would have to... That's actually Manhammer. For once, I think you didn't ask a troll question. You asked an actual fucking, like, right on the money, bang. No, I don't think so. Because... I honestly don't know. I would have to go and research the origin of vampire zombies. I think they became so popular. Once something becomes so popular, it actually bleeds into, what's that thing where anyone can use it? Like zombies, they're general, they're yada, yada, yada. But if you did it, you know, if you did it like in a specific way, that is copyrightable. But I think sure it could happen, but I think it's a lot rarer now.
Wait, is this one of the things that you do?
Yep. You got to be hired for writing this stuff way better than Neil could do. Thank you very much. I am writing my own comic, Doomsday Kingdom, right here. We have a lot in store for Doomsday Kingdom. If you guys like some of my ideas, I'm putting some of them down. I'm putting some of them down in my comic, Doomsday Kingdom, out soon. Loved the Negamam thumbnail. I couldn't stop laughing. Are they trying to insinuate golfers are men coming to terms with transitioning? No. The golf, I already did that. I'm actually going to upload a couple Last of Us 2 videos. When I get done here, I'm going to make the golf one, actually. Golfing symbolized the... golf symbolizes the over male-dominated. It is seen as a sexist, male-dominated sport. One of the last... you know, the last homes of where men can go and, you know, be men, I guess. I don't know. That's what it symbolizes. And then Joel symbolizes that male, you know, white, straight male archetype lead, and having him, you know, being beat to death. The golf club was just a perfect match when you're going for that type of symbolism.
Yo, this used to be heavy. Is that just me?
No, that's... Okay, now, enough with the rock stuff.
I never did that.
Yeah, I just imagined it.
Yeah.
Job from Banshee is a great example of how to make a fame. I said it before, Juliet is gaining to get revenge for Joel. Let the cycle continue. If there is a DLC, what would you like it to be about? Anything with Joel and Ellie. Anything with Joel and Ellie. That's it. Don't do DLC with Abby. Literally anything with Joel and Ellie. I don't care if it's going on random runs and just killing clickers or killing bandits. I just don't care. Literally anything with them. Roscoe Jackson, go get us started because I'm shutting this down. Roscoe Jackson with a $10 dono. I haven't checked you out in a while. Great job, man. I used to love those drunken stories. Happy belated Father's Day. Thank you very much for the $10 dono, homie. I appreciate that support. What do you think Tommy is going to do next? Pretty sure he has a plan and plans to get revenge as well. Tommy's done. He can't. He's got a permanent limp, and he's got one eye now. Tommy's done.
You just spoiled it.
He's done.
Did you forget I'm here?
Oh, yeah. Can you please go? This is like a spoiler discussion.
Excuse me?
Sorry. Can you go?
Can you say that more politely, huh?
Can you get the fuck... Can you please go? Because I gotta end. I gotta end this. Yeah, go. Because we're gonna literally spoil.
Stop
the
being
ending.
so mean.
Give me that hand. You're too tough now. I can't even take you on.
Yeah, no. I'm too tough. You ready?
No, for real. Go. You're like done. Go get it started now. Please, pretty please with a cherry. Ow. Okay, Abby, chill.
Does that hurt?
Yeah, you just crushed my shoulder bone. I'm like that girl that got beat with a hammer. Oh, did you see this? Okay, Rocky. First Abby, then Rocky. All right, go. The best... I'm like trying to do a stream. All right. The best part of the entire game was the birthday flashback. We'll replay that a lot. The birthday flashback, and someone asked me what was your most memorable part from the game. It was, I thought about it, by far, Joel and Ellie going to get guitar strings, and they have that little talk, and the bloater rips her out of the wall, and we have that one last showdown, me and Joel. We're fighting the bloater, and the game makes you think you lost, and the bloater goes to rip your face open like part 1, and Joel saves your ass. And then he just beats the shit out of that bloater, just hacks away at him with a machete. That was by far the standout experience, because again, it was everything. It was enjoying being with a computer. You know, it's a fake, you know what I mean? You're not online multiplayer with someone. You're playing with a computer, and you're still a part of this story with this character done so well. It fit so good. It felt like, you know, like how The Last of Us Part 2 should be. And then having that action moment, the footsteps, the sound of the bloater rushing to rip you out of the wall, how all that was done, the way the pacing was, and the tension in that scene, and then faking you out, yo. Yeah, I can't remember to, this is a spoiler stream. I told her ahead of time. I totally forgot she wasn't done with it yet. She doesn't care about Tommy anyway. I honestly don't see where the game's story is going to go next. There is also a no guarantee if Part 3 is going to be any good since the fan base is already split because of this game. Well, I mean, if it's Ellie and it's a good story, there's nothing... As long as they don't kill her in a really stupid way, there's no way they can go wrong. If it's Ellie and it's a good story, because the damage is done. Joel's already gone. You know what I mean? So, it's almost like this is The Last of Us rock bottom. You know what I'm saying? I still can't believe they did that to Joel, man. Not just did that to Joel, but everything about it, how sloppy the writing was to get him killed. And the impact of his death moving forward. In The Walking Dead, they talk a lot about, the writers, about how the deaths aren't just supposed to be shock. And they're not supposed to be just shock. They're not supposed to be just something sad and something you feel. But they're also supposed to push the story forward. And with... The Last of Us Part 2, it definitely does technically push Ellie forward and keep pushing her forward to go after the revenge. But on the flip side, the entire story, it wasn't like the real story was something that connected with her moment with the cure. You know what I mean? Like pushing for her to get revenge, and then I don't even know. I'm too tired to recreate an ending. But imagine Ellie in the end, instead of this bleak little wasted kind of feeling we got. Imagine Ellie discovering another little girl that was immune. You know what I mean? Maybe the little girl got bit right before she was going to kill Abby, and then have it done a little different to where, I don't know, because again they were tunnel visioned on to this, the reveal that Abby is no longer muscular, she's been tortured, and now you feel bad, and the brutality. They were so focused on making you okay. What? Because I'm in the middle of something that's a huge spoiler. What?
Okay, say my YouTube channel.
Okay, go. What is it, Juliet Hayes?
Juju.
Yeah. Typical Juju. Typical Juju is her YouTube channel. She's going to stream it for an hour or so. But yeah, I totally fucking forgot where I was. Oh, yeah. Imagine the ending where she finds, somebody that is immune as well. And this way, it pushes the story forward, but it leaves you with a nugget of something. You know what I mean? It was like it pushed it forward, but it still felt like a waste, especially to do the whole, oh, she ended the cycle because revenge is bad and yada yada yada. In concept, I like that. I like that idea, but that's something you waste with a Dina character, not Joel. And again, I circle back around. Joel is the sacrificial lamb because it's 2020. It's the get rid of the white straight male leads. And I'm sorry, I fucking know everyone on YouTube is all like pitchfork ready for the white, they're coming after our white guys type thing. But the truth is, if you look at everything that's there, this is the truth. They're not allowed to kill gay characters when you're in Neil Druckmann's circle of people, because you get fucking destroyed by the critics when you kill gay characters. So you're not allowed. His only option, because Ellie's gay. So if Ellie's with somebody, you can't kill Ellie's girlfriend, because Ellie's gay. Ellie's girlfriend is going to be gay too. You can't kill gay characters. So the only one you can kill is Joel to push it forward when you have revenge on your mind for a story. However, the point still stands. Joel is so beloved. it was a Dina type of character you should have killed to push Ellie forward. Not Joel, man. That was just a waste. Anyway, last couple questions, and then we'll shut her down. Best part of the entire game was the birthday flashback. I love that one for sure. Yeah, my daughter's nuts, yo. She's crazy. Juliet, back for more spoilers. Their main focus for the ending was to make us feel like Ellie had lost everything. I think that's why she couldn't find someone that gave her hope. Couldn't find someone to give. Well, yeah, I know, Kian. I know that, but what I'm talking about is a completely different ending. So it don't think of putting it in this. I'm talking about a completely different thing. You know, it's like I'm not trying to take a couple ideas and jam it into their sequel. My idea would be to get fucking rid of their ending and whatever they wanted for it as far as what they wanted you to feel. My idea was to, or not even an idea, it's another way to show how you can get something from a death and you feel like it has something of value instead of just being empty, you know, and feeling like it was just a waste. That was part of my idea. What was your favorite day in the game? I don't think I remember the days, to be honest. Please don't fall for the 2020 writing. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't write it. Do I not read it? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, come on, quick, because I'm saying goodbye. No, what is it?
Okay. I'm just waiting for you to promote my channel.
I already did. I gave you a shout out.
Do more.
That's all I can do, homie. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, honey, I really need just 2 more minutes, buddy. Yeah, all right. Tommy at the end was just totally different. He was not like the same person at all, and that was real stupid because they could have had a broken man and not an angry one, and just had somebody who was devastated. And imagine someone who everything fell apart for them, and they were almost in tears because they physically can't complete what needs to get done. I have to speak in riddles now because I'm trying not to spoil it, but imagine them being crushed and like in tears and wants to. Don't read the chat because you'll get spoiled. Yeah, imagine him like that, and then, you know, Dina even comforting instead of having their little bicker. That's a screenwriter thing, though. They all do that because when you learn screenwriting, they beat you in the face with a golf club saying, conflict is king, conflict is king. Anytime you have a scene that is a little slow and you have other characters that interact, you need to have them have conflict because it makes it more exciting. So I think that's where they went wrong. Tommy should have came in and it should have been more where you felt bad for him because you know he wanted to get it done, but in his shape he couldn't do that, you know. So even Dina was felt bad, but tried to, you know, just make him complain. I don't even know the words I'm looking for, but just tried to soothe it out, and then he left like just in a broken man, not an angry one, and that added to everything that concluded the. I honestly don't see where the game story is going to go next. There's also no guarantee if part 3 is going to go. Okay, I already read that one. Any new questions so we can shut her down? Their main focus for. Alright, read that one. Alright, yeah, let's shut her down. I think we're pretty much done. Deloney said, I don't know your name, bro. Delano oft W. 2020 writing, I meant some things writers do nowadays with forced messages and diversity, etc. Oh yeah, that's the tricky part when you're doing a live stream. It's when I'm reading like broken sentences. I don't know the context. I don't know if you mean like, hey Ronnie, don't, you know, fall into the trap of writing like people in 2020, or don't read what people write in 2020, or that's just how it is in 2020. I don't know which one. Are you petting my head? The advertising for the game is what made the fan base so divided. The advertising? I didn't feel that from the advertising, to be honest. I felt the advertising was insane through the roof. She can play her game. She doesn't have to wait for me. I don't know why she's waiting for me.
I'm not.
She can go play it right now.
I'm
Are you
not.
even live?
No,
What
I'm
if
not
you
live.
play as Abby for... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still empty and wasted.
I'm not gonna go live.
All right. Well, I just told them you're going live on Typical Juju. You had 2 people asking where you're at. That's why I said that. All right. I'm out of here. I got to get going. Those are all my thoughts and ideas for The Last of Us Part 2. I do have a couple follow-up videos, and I will do my best to work on and get out the tester video for The Last of Us Part 2 Flaw and All Review Part 1. That'll be fun to do. I'll try my best to do it before July. Well, I mean, I was going to do it, not July 1st, but we'll see, because that's right around the corner. They wasted the character of Jesse too. Only character I find interesting. Yeah, that was a bit of a waste.
Yeah,
I like Jesse. Did you ever mention... did they ever mention Joel's wife or girlfriend in either game? No. All right, and that's the last one. Let's shut her down. Have a good night, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for all the support. The Last of Us 2 stream event is done. A couple more uploads are coming behind this, though. Feel free to leave all your thoughts and opinions about how you felt about Part 2 down in that comment box below.